today, right here on the cusp of Christmas. What gifts do we have for you? The best in the business, Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh here on SportsGrid. I am excited for this Sunday. What a great week it's already been in the NFL.
Yeah, we had 2 games yesterday, right? Play out. Philadelphia Eagles, first team in 21 years to win back-to-back titles. They dominate the Washington Redskins, and we saw a miraculous finish in Chicago in overtime. I mean, unbelievable circumstances. But the stage is set. I mean, maybe not the best games, but a lot of high totals today at 1 o'clock, I could tell you. Points aplenty, Kev. Maybe we could capitalize.
All right, so he's tipping his hand a little bit. Really only 2 high totals. Like I said, I'm trying to get a read on this Lisi, Joe. Trying to figure out what he really likes here on a Sunday. To Joe's point, it's going to be a fun Sunday to follow. You've got Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in Cleveland as he tries to maybe creep into that MVP race with Matthew Stafford and Drake May. Late night, it's May versus Lamar in a huge game between the Ravens and the Patriots. The Steelers go to Detroit. We've got Quentin Ewers is on the slate. Gardner Minshew is on the slate. And there's also some one-seed implications all of a sudden for both teams in Denver and Jacksonville. We will break these games down, best bets, favorite props, sides, everything that you need here on this show. But we want to just turn the clock back a little bit because Joe said it. We had great games both Saturday and Thursday. We'll do Thursday in a moment here. But, Joe, the Chicago Bears get one of their biggest wins of the decade, undoubtedly. Now, it didn't secure anything, but they've positioned themselves now as very real favorites to win the NFC North and to be the number 2 seed in the NFC. Caleb Williams with 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, the second being a 46-yard pass to DJ Moore in overtime, a 22-16 victory for the Chicago Bears. What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
That they are a legitimate contender. I mean, that is the biggest thing, whether they are a 2 seed or not. I mean, the way they came back in the second half of that matchup, I mean, and they made all the right plays. In overtime, they took the kill shot. Caleb Williams has really lived up to the hype in year number 2. And again, Ben Johnson, potentially Coach of the Year candidate, because, again, we talk about this team with Eberflus. They had an 8.5 win total. They didn't get there. They, again, had an 8.5 win total. There were question marks on the defensive side of the ball. They have now slowly erased those, and they're playing as good as anybody in the NFL right now. And again, when you see this team, now this is a team that they lost to, 2 weeks ago by 7 points in Lambeau Field? Yeah. Now without Micah Parsons, that defense now takes a hit for Green Bay, and they seize the opportunity, and that's a testament to the Chicago Bears. They are now a contender in the sense of, I don't believe they're just potentially one and done. This team now can make a run for a potential NFC championship.
So I'm still reserved on that. I just, and the closeness of these games, but they are playing really good teams, the comeback nature. I think without a shadow of a doubt, Clutch Caleb is a thing. It's been a thing this year. I also came away so impressed by Ben Johnson. I think that you find coaches occasionally who, to use a roulette analogy, they show up to the table, they put the first 2 on red, and they go, all right, well, I'm just going to sit here and bet red the rest of the night because I can't get off of it. And there was so much conversation on the broadcast that Ben Johnson was prepared to go for 2 in the meeting a couple of weeks ago against the Green Bay Packers, go for the throat, go for the win. And I found the situation, Joe, to be very different. In this setup here, when they scored that a fourth down touchdown pass, it almost felt under the radar because there was almost 30 seconds left, all 3 timeouts, and the Packers then, if they would have, again, I'm talking about if the Bears get the 2-point conversion, right? Not just the situation where they don't get it. If they get it, Green Bay now knows, all right, well, it's all systems go, 3 timeouts, middle of the field. Like, they probably would have been able to get into field goal range. Right. I know it's Malik Willis, but that's probably what would have happened. Instead, Malik Willis takes a sack. Packers say, you know what, let's go to overtime. And that ability to pivot off of your prior, if you will, from Ben Johnson, I came away really impressed with. The play calls are really impressed. And I think you have now another guy who has just completely jumped Mike Vrabel in Coach of the Year for me. I'm not heavily invested in the market because it's voters. It's tough to get a read on what these guys are going to do. But I said this to you after the New England Patriots blew that game against Buffalo, and it's just going to, I think, gain throughout the week and through this slate. He's not my Coach of the Year. I just don't see it. I don't see that case. But underrated even in all of this, Joe, Jordan Love injured in the first half.
Yeah.
Jordan Love doesn't play, for most of this football game here. And the Packers are well within their rights to say we would have won it if Love didn't get injured. I think that is absolutely fine. The problem is he did. It's a concussion. And that means he could be out week 17 against Baltimore, maybe week 18. We never know with concussions.
Right.
And, Joe, the Packers, if they lose one more game, this could be a team that misses the postseason.
Yeah, and again, last year he battled injuries throughout the season, right, and wasn't 100%, so they need Jordan Love. This team, obviously, I don't think can make any type of run with Malik Willis. He's a competent backup. He's won games before, but at the end of the day, you want Jordan Love to be healthy. I think when you look at the Green Bay Packers, though, when Micah went down last week, It's like they lost something, right?
No doubt.
The emotional leader, that dominant force on the defensive side of the football, and knowing that they could push around maybe any type of offense on the defensive side of the ball is now where they have concerns.
Yeah.
And when you look at what Chicago was completely shut down for basically 3 quarters, right? Mm-hmm. They were held to 2 field goals. In the last 2 minutes of the game, the defense falls apart, right?
Yeah.
Now they hold to a field goal. They give up the touchdown, granted, and everything that transpired. But you give up the kill shot to DJ Moore. I mean, it just looked like once that game got to overtime, Chicago was the more confident group. And that's where I think when you look at this team big picture, it's like they believe they can win. Let's not forget they went into the Link on a Black Friday game and dominated Philly, right? So when you look at that, I think that's where now, okay, it's not just one time. I've seen it now consistent weeks where they're building an identity.
Yeah.
And this defense now has shut down multiple teams, right? I mean, outside the Bengal game, you go down, it's basically dominant performances, right? Outside the Pittsburgh 28 points, they have shut teams down defensively. And I think that's where I look at it and say, you know what? If Caleb plays the way he's doing, I still think Philly's the best team in the NFC, and they're my pick.
Yeah.
But I think it could be a Chicago potential Philly game in the end.
Let's just quickly talk about Philly's win against the Washington Commanders, a game that they trailed in early at half, but ultimately clinched consecutive division titles, as you said. And I'll kind of miss this fact a little bit. First team to do it in over 2 decades. Last since Andy Reid's Philadelphia Eagles group, Donovan McNabb. I think for Philly, Joe, I know they smashed the Raiders. That's the Raiders. But at the end of it, they smashed the Commanders. It's the Commanders. I get that. But this isn't what the Eagles have been able to do this year. Just because, hey, they should win, that doesn't automatically mean they dominate, right?
Right.
It's not a team that has a ton of double-digit victories on the resume. I think 2 of maybe the 3 on the year have now been these last 2 games. I think for Philadelphia, they really have picked themselves up off of a Chargers game that felt like it could totally derail their season. 5 turnovers for Jalen Hurts, a loss in overtime. Philly now, with this win, I think they get it's a spar to me with Buffalo. Hey, let's figure it out, have some fun. Shut it down week 18, be the 3 seed, and that means the Eagles are going to have a home playoff game, at least one. And I think it lines them up as what you've called them, the team to beat in the conference.
Yeah, again, I mean, they're slowly peaking at just the right time. And even though it's garbage competition, when you take care of business and your complete performances offensively and defensively, that's all you can ask for. And again, Jalen Hurts makes plays when he has to. I'll say it again. I know he didn't do it against the Chargers. He did it yesterday.
Assuming Josh Allen makes the playoffs this year, only quarterbacks to make it over the last 5 seasons. Hurts, Allen. That's the list. We'll talk Pats Ravens next. I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, Do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
if I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing. They do. Well,
in this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number one picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg. And then he tears the Achilles. All right? You're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ellinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe a starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Back to the right here on SportsGrid, and Sunday Night Football between the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens is a really, really fascinating football game. I just want to quickly tie it into Green Bay for a moment. I have gone through these tiebreakers and time again. I am 99.9% sure that if Pittsburgh loses to Detroit, we're going to talk about that game next, and Baltimore beats New England tonight, Baltimore a favorite, Detroit a favorite, then for Week 17, for the Ravens and for the Steelers, the game does not matter. The whole division will come down to Week 18, and I understand sometimes these coaches like to play and stay in rhythm, but I think it is very on the board that if the Ravens win and the Lions win, Baltimore punts Week 17, which could be a massive gift to the Green Bay Packers. Because instead of Malik Willis potentially going head-to-head with Lamar Jackson, it might be Tyler Huntley. Just something to keep in mind here. But the reality is for the Ravens, this game matters. Because if they do drop this game to New England, then they're going to have to beat Green Bay next week. And you now enter, though, Joe, playing an 11-3, unbeaten on the road Pats team, and it's not, hey, puncher's chance. All of a sudden, the books, maybe they don't believe in New England that much. This is Lamar's Ravens. Full field goal, some 3.5s out there. We know how Baltimore's typically booked. Over the last 2.5 years, like they're the best team in the league. This is inching closer back to that. What do you make of the number here with the Ravens and the Pats?
No, I think it's right.
Okay.
I do. Even though it's Drake May and it's Mike Vrabel, they're still a young football team. And Baltimore's deserving of being a home field favorite by 3. I would put it right at 3. We saw 2.5s earlier in the week. But for me, when you look at the performance last week against Joe Burrow in Cincinnati defensively, to shut down that offense, now maybe part of it was Burrow and that team just being completely laxed. I mean, you saw the press conference with Burrow earlier in the week. That's not the Joe Burrow that I know, just to lay an egg. And, I mean, think about it. You know, you torched them on Thanksgiving. You put up 30-plus points, and then you can't score a field goal and get into any type of red zone opportunity in that game was pathetic. But when you look at this team, I still wasn't that impressed with Baltimore. I mean, this was a basically scoreless game for 2 quarters. You know, it wasn't until they cracked through with the screen pass to Ali where the team had a little bit of momentum. And Lamar went on to throw for 2 touchdowns. I want to see it continue. We saw what Josh Allen in Buffalo was able to do in the second half of that matchup against New England. Psychologically, what does that do to a young football team defensively? And again, if you're Lamar, you got to take the game over. I need to see Lamar Jackson on the ground, through the air. I need to see Zay Flowers get more involved. I need to see the targets. I still have question marks. Big picture on Baltimore, even if they make it to the playoffs, that I don't know if this passing attack will hold up. Again, it's the same questions that we have time and time again. This team is successful when Henry's getting his 100, when Lamar is improvising, he's running for his 30, 40 yards, and he's breaking contain. Street ball it. I don't care what you do, but dominate this team. I do like Baltimore tonight, though. I do feel they cover this line. I do lean to the over as well.
So I think you are absolutely right, though, in that the Ravens' best football is always in the regular season.
Yeah.
So for this team to be having a tough regular season, you can tell yourself, maybe they're going to get on a run. It's hard to trust.
It's one of the worst passing defenses with Cincinnati, and they only put up 24 points. And
one of those was a pick six. They really only put up 17 on the offensive side.
And it's Ali. Think about the plays that they did have.
I know.
Zay Flowers got involved late, but at the end of the day, where's Andrews? Where's Bateman? Where are these guys?
But I think to your point, Joe, let's just say tonight looks like classic Baltimore. 35-14.
Right.
The problem is the perception is going to be they are back. They are the best.
Yeah.
And then the playoffs start, and they might host Josh Allen in round one, and we're going to go, I don't know what we want to do here. That's what makes the Ravens a very difficult team, I think, from a futures perspective. Because they are tempting. You are getting, this was the preseason Super Bowl favorite. Right. You're getting big numbers on Baltimore. I can't get there yet.
I still can't get there. When you look, they don't pass the eye test this year. Last year, they were putting up a ton of points, but I still have concerns defensively. Sure. Now, that was a great effort last week against Cincinnati to shut down Higgins and Chase and that passing attack. But again, have we seen it throughout basically 16 weeks up until this point? No, we saw garbage offenses move the football on them.
So I thought about it. I was like, do I do a rollover money line, right? That might actually be more profitable than just betting them to win a Super Bowl. And the problem, though, is, one, I don't know now. I have no idea if Week 17 matters, right? So that's all weird and what have you. And it's an odd setup right now for the Ravens. The thing is, when we isolate it to this game, I do agree with you. I think offensively we see the Ravens show up. This New England team they're not super healthy. And I think when we try to evaluate the caliber of football they're playing, it's very odd, right? You look at their last 5 games. The matchup with the Bucs was close, right? It was a little back and forth. It was an ugly football game. The Jets game, they didn't look dominant, but it's the Jets, right? Cincinnati, they were down 10 at one point, but the Bengals are just a disgrace. The Giants, they did dominate the Giants, but then it's like, it's the Giants. And then they were dominating the Bills when they lose. So the problem is, when New England looks good, the opponent's terrible. And if they ever look bad, it's a huge indictment. But I said this to you on Monday. New England lost. Any world of me being really high on this team was thrown away in that game against Buffalo. This is not a team I'm in on in New England whatsoever. So, I got a prop. We'll do it in Sunday Morning Crunch because we just don't have as much time here. We'll do it in Crunch that I'm going to use from this game. But Ravens and over, I agree, but I'm not desperate to.
No, I'm not running to the table, but I will give New England credit. The one thing they do is they win on the road. They're 6-0 in road environments this year. But I'll just personnel-wise, and I know Stephon Diggs is looked at as a number one. He's not a number one. Douglas is not scary.
No.
I'm sorry. Kayshon Boutte, I love
healthy,
him.
Joe.
But this isn't 2016 LSU in Baton Rouge, where he's catching 300 yards from Max Johnson. They're a good group, but they're not scaring me in any capacity. In a playoff environment, I'm not scary. They're not scary in any capacity.
It's a perfect description, though, truly. I know there's elements, I think, of almost all these other the Texans' defense is scary. The Broncos' defense is scary. Lamar's scary.
Right.
But does he show up where New England just lost any aura, for lack of a better term? Let's go to Detroit Lions Steelers after the break right here on SportsGrid. I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, Do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
if I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me. I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's
They
amazing.
Don't.
Well, somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
in this economy,
But
they
they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number one picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg. And then he tears the Achilles. All right, you're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ellinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe the starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today right here on SportsGrid. We are going to dive into this matchup between Detroit and Pittsburgh. And I got to tell you, Joe, the Steelers, I'll miss Mike Tomlin whenever this ride is done. They are fun to talk about because it's really, listen, we could do the X's and O's of it all. We could talk about personnel, right? It's just Tomlin spots. Is it a Tomlin spot? Is it not? And
Yeah, here we go.
no. Oh, no. So listen to me.
I know.
So, right, we talked about Pittsburgh when they went to Baltimore. That was a Tomlin spot, right? We saw it clear as day. So then what happens? They play Miami, and you get, different people out there being like,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's not that good.
Wheels.
Trust me, rug pulled out from underneath them. Here comes Miami.
Right.
Steelers smash.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get to this game here against Detroit, and you got people going, why do they think the Steelers are no good? This team's got fight. They got moxie. No, they don't. This is a Tomlin spots. Every game's a Tomlin spot. It's just a matter of is it hot or is it cold. This feels like a game where the Steelers get absolutely destroyed.
It does, but
there were some 6.5s out there.
There were 7s earlier in the week.
So there were 7s. Then there was like a loose 6.5 hanging out. Now I got 7 and a hooks in some spots.
Yeah, well, there you go, because everybody feels that Detroit obviously needs the game and the passing attack.
Loss.
Now, some people fell for the banana in the tailpipe. Some. We didn't, right? But at the end of the day, Pittsburgh stepped up and dominated the fish, and I told you that would happen.
Look, Steelers were the right side last week. You know what I mean? We
Literally the right side.
No,
right?
listen, yeah.
Right, but that defense stepped up, and Miami does what they always do in cold weather environments, and the defense didn't show up and contain Aaron Rodgers and that passing attack in any capacity. But when you look at this game, yes. Look, Detroit should wipe Pittsburgh across Ford Field today, okay? Just because of the level that they have. Where is the mindset? I mean, they had a 10-point lead at half. I mean, Jamison Williams, 92 yards. St. Brown with a $162. Yeah. And they still lost by 7. Yeah. I mean, Jared Goff had one of his cleanest performances, in the first half. He was hitting on all cylinders. But again, the questions for Detroit are on the defensive side of the football. That secondary gets torched every week. Mm-hmm. So when you look at this, I expect Detroit to move the football. I mean, if Tua had 2 garbage touchdowns, it's going to be a big day potentially, for everybody, right? I mean, Jameson should get 80. St. Brown should get close to 100. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, can run the football. We saw Achane have success early. But what is the defense going to do, especially against Jaylen Warren in the rushing attack? I do have concerns about that. That is a cause of concern. Now, when you see the total, 51, and I don't think I could get there at the 51.5. I think Tomlin and I think this team go in there with that run mentality. And we're gonna run it. We're gonna sustain drives, and let's make it a playoff type of game. So, I mean, I would take the 6.5 if you're asking me to bet a side. Okay. I don't love it. My best play is the under 51.5.
So I would only bet Detroit. And again, I probably should have bet some of the 6.5 last night, but I didn't, and now it's 7.5, and that's a little far gone for me. The Lions offense, though, is in a really, really good spot. And I think what makes them so tempting in this game is the Pittsburgh defense is about as injured as the Lions defense. So if the Lions can actually play a game on level footing, right? The Lions are, here's the thing about the Lions. They are good. Okay?
Yeah, they're good.
They are good. But people are like, what if the defense gets healthy? Never going to happen. These guys are done. And the problem is, it's like you get to the playoffs, and then all of a sudden you might get a cold game, and then it's Jared Goff in the way. So the Lions, to me, are not very tempting unless they look. The crazy thing is there's a world they win the NFC North, and it's not like a far-fetched world, Joe. It's really not where they win the NFC North. So let me just say this. You like them today. You think they win the football game, right?
I think they win, but I think it
you
could
think
be
they win
I like Pittsburgh with the 6.5 just because, again, I think it's a closer game, more of a playoff atmosphere.
But just hear me out, okay? If Detroit wins this game, next week they play Minnesota, okay, on Christmas. Now, Minnesota's playing a little bit better.
Yeah, but you don't know what you're getting with JJ week to week.
Week 18, the Lions all of a sudden, by the way, are on a mini bye because of this Christmas NFL nonsense against the Bears. And if the Bears lose to the Niners in San Fran, which, I mean, they're going to be dogs.
It's possible.
The division's there.
Yeah, but they have to do that in Soldier Field.
Understood. But also, but you're on a mini bye.
Right, I understand.
All of a sudden, the Lions are the 3 seed. You know what I mean? So, again, there's still a lot that's got to be worked through. We'll keep working it through it with you on SportsGrid. I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to
saying
these
if I'm
games.
a fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not
They told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing. Somebody's got money.
In this economy,
they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyren Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyren Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number 1 picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg, and then he tears the Achilles. All right, you're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ehlinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe the starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
With you right here on SportsGrid, and We've got a lot of fun games to break down, to talk about, no doubt about it. We're talking about just kind of how crazy some of the seeding can get here, where, hey, the Lions going to, win it, and it's just, it really, really is remarkable. All of a sudden, we're living in a world where the Jacksonville Jaguars and the 1 seed are being discussed. And it's not outrageous. The Jacksonville Jaguars, man, they felt in a bad spot, right? I mean, they went to London and got abused by the Rams. Travis Hunter lost for the season. They win this close overtime game against the Raiders. You don't feel great about it. They blow this huge lead to the Texans. And it seems 5-4, nothing to see here. They've won 5 in a row. The impressiveness of those games, I think, is there. The quality of opponent is questionable, but the way they've looked, I think, has been impressive here. But they now have their toughest game in a month plus, going to Denver, the favorites to be the 1 seed, favorites in the conference, unbeaten at home. What are you really looking for here between Denver and Jacksonville?
I'm looking for a step-up spot for Jacksonville, and I want to see if they could do it. I want to see if Trevor Lawrence and that offense can dominate the way they did it in the first half against the New York Jets. I mean, you blinked last week, and they were up 21-0. It was ridiculous. Yeah. We saw Brian Thomas get involved in the offense, which is always a positive sign, but Travis Etienne and that rushing attack are dominant. Liam Cohen has instilled the balance that he did at Tampa Bay, where they had one of the most dominant rushing attacks last year, and he elevated that team that was basically at the bottom of the NFL in rush offense 2 years ago and made them a legitimate contender and put them in a position to win games, not just in the regular season, but in a playoff environment. And when you look at, if you're going to have to win games, especially like this one, right? Now, they've won 5 straight. But they're going up against the hottest team in the NFL right now, winners of 11 straight in Denver. Denver's undefeated at home by an average margin of victory, at least entering last week, of 10 points per game. They dominate at home, and they dominated Green Bay for the most part as a 2.5-point underdog. When you look at this game, though, can they run the football effectively on the front 7 of Denver? I think they can. What I need to see is, can Trevor Lawrence play clean? If he can play clean, I think they have the potential to pull this game out. I like them plus the 3.5. I don't necessarily love the over here. I think it's more of an under type of game. Okay. I think Jacksonville potentially could win it. We're looking more like 21-17 in that aspect. I think it's, both offenses will look to run the football a little bit more, and we got a more of a playoff type of game in Mile High today, but I'll take a shot with the 3.5.
So it's weird because I've been impressed by Jacksonville. I think Liam Cohen has a real Coach of the Year case. Yeah. Because he's got Trevor Lawrence playing clean football. But you look at the recent games, and there's just, in these wins, right? Now they did abuse the Chargers, and I don't think that should be discredited. At Arizona in overtime, Trevor tried his absolute hardest to throw that game away.
3 turnovers in that game.
The Titans are obviously not good, and we all know that, and they abuse them. Right. And then home against Indianapolis,
we know what
lose
happened,
Daniel Jones in the game, and the Jets have just completely fallen apart. And now you go to Denver. I mean, there's nothing in this class. But like I said, I've been impressed by Jacksonville, so Joe's trying to find ways where could there be some value. And look, I'll say it a few times through the show, Trevor Lawrence over pass attempts is my favorite bet on this slate today.
Is it? Okay.
The number is 32.5. They've only lost 4 games. He has thrown the ball 40 or more times in 3 of the 4 losses. So that, to me, is almost a creative way of Broncos money line a little bit, right? And getting, Trevor to throw over 32.5. But I also, when I think about how do they want to attack Denver, I think right now what I'm seeing from Jacksonville is an emerging pass attack.
Yeah, no,
and I know that there's risk in letting Trevor throw it a bunch of times, but I think that's the most dangerous version of his team.
No.
Add in a Bashal Tutin absence, and I understand ETN's been running great. I just don't know if they're going to go 25, 30 carries. So I think the balance could shift a little bit more towards the pass game here. I think this is a ton of attempts game from Trevor Lawrence, I feel really good about it.
Yeah, no, we see a little bit differently, but I understand your point with Trevor Lawrence. You have the hot quarterback. You want to let him cook. And Jacoby Myers has been a huge asset to that offense. Strange, an above-average tight end. When he's healthy, they can get him the football. And, again, the emergence of Brian Thomas. There's more confidence, I think, in Trevor Lawrence and Thomas now over the past couple of weeks from what we've seen earlier in the year with drops. I will just say, from the betting perspective and the gambling perspective, Denver had a huge spot last week, and a lot of people didn't give them credit. It's LaFleur, it's Green Bay, it's Micah, and they won that game.
No doubt.
And I'm just saying, like, for a team, and even though I love Bo Nix and I give credit with Sean Payton, it is an emotional letdown spot after, can they get up yet again for another playoff team? They did it. And so I'm just saying, I think it's a letdown spot. I'm willing to take the 3.5. And again, I do believe in Cohen. I want to see if they could push them around, because that's the MO. When you look at Denver, one of the best defenses, right? You go Cleveland, you go Denver. When we just think about dominant front sevens and we think about the secondary. But I still think that Jacksonville has the type of personnel. But it hinges, to me, on the offensive line. And I want to see them go into a cold weather environment because I want to see if they're legit. If they get blown out today, then it's like Jacksonville. They got no shot. Trevor Lawrence, maybe they can win one game. But if they have to go to Buffalo or they have to go to a cold weather type of place like Mile High again, can they do it? I want to see them step up in this spot tonight.
But to your point about if they lose today, so the Texans are 14.5-point favorites against the Raiders. I understand anything can happen.
Nah, come on.
I'm not, I couldn't even take the 4. You know me.
I
couldn't take 14.
Part of me wants to take the 14.
I would never lay.
No.
That's just outrageous.
Yeah, and it's not out of the realm of possibility when you have the Dr. Evil of the NFL and DeMeco Ryans. Why win games 40-20 when you can lose them 21-17?
But they smashed Arizona.
I know.
You know what I mean?
But I think Arizona was just and I'm not saying Las Vegas is dead too. But I'm just saying.
My problem with the Raiders is I think they're one of the worst teams in NFL history right now.
In history?
Joe,
Cleveland had some bad teams.
Joe, they had 75 yards against the Eagles. And it wasn't surprising.
Outside of Brock Bowers, what do they have? Trey Tucker. Ashton Genty in the offensive line. Personnel-wise,
I guess this moment of the Raiders they just feel so lifeless.
Need a quarterback.
But my thing is, if the Jags lose, because right now they're up a game, so the Jags lose a game, and if you look at it for Jacksonville, Joe, after this at Indianapolis, you're going to be booked as favorites. Right, whether that's Rivers or if he's assuming it's still Rivers. And then home against Tennessee, again, anything can happen. You're going to be booked as favorites after this game. So the pressure is on Houston to win out. But with the way Houston's playing, you know what I mean? Like, they have a Week 17 game against the Chargers. I think there's a chance Houston's favored in that game at LA. For Jacksonville, today we enter the game. Can they be the 1 seed? And if they lose, looks like they're going to be the 6th seed.
Right.
That's how violent a swing.
Yeah, it is.
Like, the game is, and again, sometimes people like to bet on this. The game is much bigger for Jacksonville than Denver. Denver is still well in control of the number 1 seed, even with a loss.
Right. And I think that, when you look at Jacksonville, you look at Houston. We love Houston's defense.
Yeah.
And we'll give them the edge. But we love C.J. Stroud and we love Nico Collins, but I need to see it. I need to see them throttle teams. They shouldn't score on the first drive and then pull back the reins. They do it time and time again. And it's frustrating because when you look at this team and you say, okay, everybody, Houston, I don't have a lot of confidence in DeMeco Ryans right now. I just don't. I have more confidence in Liam Cohen in a playoff situation to figure it out offensively. And then I do DeMeco Ryans saying we're going to play, ball control, turnovers, rely on the defense, and hope to win it.
Look, I think Houston's another one of these handful of teams where you go, might lose in round 1, might be in the conference championship game. And that's just how the AFC is as a whole. Let's go south to south, the NFC South, next on SportsGrid. I'm just saying if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
if I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. That's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me. I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's
They
amazing.
don't.
Somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
in this economy,
But they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number one picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg, and then he tears the Achilles. All right, you're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ellinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe a starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Is that points? Is that points out there? Bucks Panthers. Now,
What?
what?
What are you going to tell me?
Well, here's what I'll say. Bucks Panthers, big game in the NFC South.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Lisi game
Is it?
in that people, I think, tune in today. They say, I don't know what Joe's betting, but I know he's betting this game. Now, that's what the problem might be. The game means too much. You like a dirty NFC South game, right?
Yeah.
Couple of teams that nobody actually wants to watch, sneak over the 40 and a hook, indoors, you're like, can't believe the number, catch you at the window, game gets 55 points. I'm just saying, that's you.
Yes.
Maybe the game's a little too exciting, 7-7 football teams here.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a Tampa Bay defense that got torched by Kirk Cousins, right?
Yep.
300 passing yards. But again, in a big spot with the game on the line against New Orleans, we see Bryce Young and Carolina lay an egg.
Yeah.
I mean, just gutless performance.
Right.
Offensively, defensively, they couldn't put it away. And again, you have to bet the Panthers. I keep telling you this. From the Bills game every other week. So this potentially is a bet-on spot for the Carolina Panthers. Every other week they cover and win outright. So there you go. Division on the line. You have Tampa Bay coming into your house, big bad Baker Mayfield, who I love. But you should be able to pull this game out. I don't love this game in any capacity.
Right.
I don't love it from a total perspective. I do like props in the game, certain players. I like Ibuka on Tampa Bay's side. I do think it's a bounce-back spot for Ted McMillan, especially when you look at one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL, bottom third in Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. I think Bryce Young should have success. But again, both of these teams need this game.
Yeah.
Do they get conservative? If I'm Todd Bowles and I'm Tampa Bay,
Yeah.
I'm letting Baker cook. Let him throw 50 times in this matchup. Forget the rushing attack with Bucky Irvin, and let's see if we could outscore him.
My issue with this whole thing
Go ahead.
is, because, I've been playing around with, like, the playoff stuff, Joe, is it doesn't actually seem like Tampa needs the game. Let me rephrase.
God.
They don't need it as much as Carolina does. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean you're not going to get an A++++ effort from Tampa Bay.
Right.
Because psychologically, 100%, you gotta step up. Okay.
I mean, this team has lost 5 out of the last 6.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, if Carolina loses, it's like the division is curtains. Like, it's the Bucs and it's over.
Yeah.
Whereas Tampa really needs a split. These teams play this week in Week 18.
And then they have the Dolphins.
The Week 18 game is in Tampa Bay. And here are the Bucs coming into this game as a field goal favorite. Like, it's a strong number on Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but just think about how they lost that Atlanta game. They have a double-digit lead in the second half. And
Can I ask you this?
Go ahead.
Do you feel that one of these teams is decidedly better than the other?
Yes.
Tampa Bay?
I think when healthy, Tampa is legitimately could put up 30 points a game. I mean, now with Evans and Godwin back in that lineup and Ibuka and Kate Otten and McMillan, I mean, they have unbelievable weapons. And we know that Baker has been banged up. But you give me a healthy Baker Mayfield and again, I know that's a coin flip. Is the shoulder okay? I think it is. But I'll put, they're getting my money. They make the playoffs in a first-round game and they're dogs. I'm taking them because I believe in them that much.
Yeah.
Now, defensively, that secondary is a little scary because of how they got abused by multiple teams. But again, this team went into Seattle and put up 38 points on that defense.
But I think what you said, Joe, is in that right from the beginning about psychologically. This game, it's about the division.
They got to get their swag back.
I want either one of these teams, though, right?
Yeah.
Show me that you're worth backing when you are inevitably an underdog to the Rams or Seahawks in round number 1. Because that's what's coming.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it is on the board that we catch almost a touchdown when in round 1 with one of these teams. It's on the board.
I have no confidence in Carolina going to Seattle.
No, they host the game, I'm saying.
Even if I'm just saying, or if they, I have no confidence in Bryce Young. I mean, they are very erratic. There's no consistency.
No,
and Tampa Bay, win one loss, doesn't have consistency either.
Yeah.
But they have that mature veteran quarterback that in a playoff environment, I know that guy's won 2 major playoff games. And that guy and that offense have the weapons to go toe-to-toe with anybody. Now, whether they get there or not remains to be seen, but they're getting my money in a playoff environment. You want to give me Tampa Bay in a road environment, catching 5, 6, potentially a touchdown at Detroit or wherever they have to go? Yeah, I'll take them.
I played over 44.5 in this game.
I know.
24-21, either way gets there. People talk about how Carolina is perfect against the number off a loss, which is impressive.
Right.
But recently what we've seen is their offense kind of go back and forth. 7 against New Orleans, 30 against Atlanta, 9 against San Fran, 31 against the Rams, 17 against the Saints. So and I think for the Bucs, I know that Todd Bowles, I feel like he put a lot towards the defense specifically not showing up. But I also, at the end of the day, the Bucs I think are defined by their offense. They are defined by Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka. That's what they've been defined by. And Baker had an awful interception, and they had a really slow start in that football game. Right, they trailed at half, and that shouldn't have been the case. They were so. It's a football. I think it's an offense that comes out firing, and I think Carolina. I don't think Carolina's going to get their doors blown off. So I think they can keep this thing within range. I feel pretty good about this team.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Tampa Bay, you're going into this game knowing that you're 100% healthy on the offensive side of the football, and you want to see if Bryce Young and that offense can match you score for score. And they've had dominant home performances. Carolina has against Dallas, against L.A., where they put up 30-plus points. And the perception is, this is a step-up spot. But you're talking about a veteran team that, again, hasn't had a full roster since basically, week 4? In Tampa Bay? Now I think they're coming in confident, and we'll see where the chips fall. But, again, sidewise, it is a Carolina spot.
Yeah.
But to your point, I just think Tampa Bay is the much more complete football team.
Yeah, well, listen, we're going to find out here. It's going to be really fun to watch this thing play out. We've got just still plenty to get through here. We've got our NFL insider, Adam Kaplan, still joining us, the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow as well. But up next, we get involved with the props market. Our Sunday morning crunch is next, and it's right here on SportsGrid. I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
if I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. That's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not.
I got,
anymore.
they told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my
Yeah,
tickets.
so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's
They
amazing.
don't.
Well,
Look,
somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
in this economy, they don't
But
have the money.
they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number one picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg. And then he tears the Achilles. All right? You're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ellinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe the starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Props time here on Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi. Let's get to your Sunday morning crunch. All right, Joe. This is really a big moment here, I think.
Why?
Because I feel like a lot of people, I said it from the beginning, trying to get a read on you.
Yeah.
This feels like a business trip. You feel locked in, and I think that's exciting.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think that's exciting. You had your, what was it, game of a lifetime? On Friday?
Yeah, game of the lifetime.
But
I hit it. Alabama and Oklahoma. I just didn't take it enough. You know, I could have gotten it up to 56.5. I took it up to 52.5. Now,
all right. That's okay. But
I should have pushed the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, but you and I think people were excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Saturday was Saturday, right? We talk about those all the time, sacrifice Saturdays. Let's not worry about them. Pick yourself up, you dust yourself off.
Yeah,
now, I mean, I'm looking here at these numbers.
You see my crunch?
Oh, yeah. Believe it or not, I know where to find it. And I'll tell you one thing that stands out.
Mm-hmm.
No LSU players. This is a locked-in man. This is a locked-in man.
So you're saying I brought it today?
You always bring it. You brought it in a different way that I think is really exciting for the people at home.
Well, there's cheap numbers out there, and I told you.
Cheap.
There's a lot of, I believe, some high totals. Now, look, Cincinnati, Miami's high. L.A., Dallas is high.
Yeah.
You could throw in your game, Tampa Bay, Carolina, 44, 45 and a half is pretty high. But when I look at some of the receivers and two in the first, 1 o'clock window, and I look at Justin Herbert going up against Dallas with no Bland, no Diggs. Yep. And I see that Ladd McConkey's been basically held in check for 5 straight weeks. Mm-hmm. And you hang a 47.5 number on Ladd. I think he breaks out. I think he can get to 70, 80 yards today. Yeah. I do like him anytime touchdown, but he's number one on the list today for a huge day. 47.5 main target. L.A. wants to win this game, needs to win this game. And again, I think it is the passing attack with Justin Herbert. They did get the victory over Philly about a week and a half ago, and I think they break out. So, I mean, he's player number one, and player number two is Ibuka. I mean, 38.5 for Emeka Ibuka. I understand why with Evans and Godwin back, but again, in a must-win game, Kev.
Yeah.
I mean, 38.5? And then I'll throw in Kansas City finally got a good quarterback. Gardner Minshew, the gamer. 210.5. I mean, he's going up against a garbage. If Shedeur Sanders put up 364 on that defense,
Yeah.
Gardner's good for at least 275 today.
Mm-hmm.
No?
I think Gardner could play really well.
Wait until you see my crunch.
See that I haven't seen.
Not
yet.
my crunch, my sell me.
I knew what you meant. I like Kansas City today. I'll just say that. I think there's a lot of people who are lined up. I played about
96% of the people love the Titans, supposedly, across multiple books. Supposedly, Joe Public likes Tennessee today.
The Lisi calculator.
I'm still waiting for key indicators to come out, but once I get those...
I threw one your way, but yeah.
Key indicators come out, I'd say around 12:30 for me, and then...
I played Kansas City at -2.5. I think it's Andy Reid up against one of the two worst football teams in this league at -2.5.
You got a winner at quarterback in Gardner.
Well, yeah, you don't have that unfortunately, but that's okay. I went.
So do you like it? Grade it. I mean, typically there's LSU guys in there.
Looks like 3-0.
We got a Bulldog. We got an Ohio State Buckeye.
Yep.
And we got a Washington State / East Carolina quarterback.
All right, there we go. It looks like 3-0.
3-0.
I think I might like yours more than maybe. You know what? Just put his up again. I'll give out those same picks. Look, there we go. I like McConkey. I think she breaks out. I like Emeka. Look, I went superstar style here.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, I was top shelf is what they call this.
This is it,
okay?
Jameson, huh?
Give me Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Browns have given this up back-to-back weeks to Cam Ward and Caleb Williams. Josh has thrown 3 in consecutive weeks. Browns give up way more passing touchdowns than rushing touchdowns. Josh is trying to hunt down an MVP. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs over his rush receiving at 117.5. Gibbs is averaging over 135 in his last 8 games. He's hit this in 5 of 8. He's not missed it in consecutive weeks. He did not do much in that outing against the Rams. It's a step-up spot for Gibbsy. And then give me, this is an ugly one. This is straight out of the wager.com. Give me Lamar and Derrick Henry together. Lamar for a passing touchdown, Henry for an anytime touchdown at +109.
Now, I like it. Was it the left wager or the right?
We don't know. Listen. Here's what I know. We got the top shelf liquor in mine, and then we got the Lisi is obviously mad at LSU plays of the day. We love to see it, baby. We'll be right back. I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to
Saying
these
if I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not.
They told me.
They
I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's
They
amazing.
Don't.
Well, somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
In this economy,
But they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number 1 picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg. And then he tears the Achilles. All right, you're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ehlinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe a starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today. Only on Sports.